Greek athletes once shocked the ancient world with their extraordinary feats of strength, speed, and endurance at the Olympic Games. But what fueled these remarkable men before they stepped into the stadium at Olympia? Did they consume rare and exotic superfoods? Did they follow secret regimens passed down only to champions? Or were their diets far simpler than we might imagine? The truth lies in a mixture of tradition, science, and mystery, and it continues to intrigue historians even today. The Olympic Games began in ancient Greece around the 8th century BC, and were held every 4 years at Olympia, a sanctuary dedicated to the god Zeus. Athletes traveled from across the Greek world, from wealthy city-states like Athens and Sparta to more distant communities, to compete in running, wrestling, discus, javelin, boxing, and the grueling pentathlon. Victors were celebrated as living legends, immortalized in poetry and sculpture. Success in the Olympics brought immense honor to both the athlete and his homeland. Since training and preparation were seen as vital, the question of what these athletes ate was far more than a matter of survival. It was considered the very foundation of triumph. Diet was intertwined with the Greek idea of arete, or excellence, which combined physical ability, mental discipline, and moral strength. Greek physicians and trainers believed that food directly shaped performance. Early writings recorded by philosophers and physicians reveal that Greeks carefully considered which foods made the body strong and which weakened it. Nutrition was not yet a science in the modern sense, but the Greeks saw diet as a central part of athletic preparation, often debated as seriously as training methods or techniques. In the earliest decades of the Olympic Games, evidence suggests that athletes subsisted on very simple foods. Accounts describe meals of barley bread, which was a dietary staple in Greece, along with dried figs, a fruit readily available in the Mediterranean climate. Cheese, produced from goat or sheep milk, was another important protein source. This basic combination reflected the humble beginnings of the Games, when athletes were amateurs relying largely on everyday foods rather than specialized regimens. Later, however, diets began to change as trainers experimented with new ways to fuel their competitors. One intriguing shift in Olympic diet revolved around meat consumption. For much of Greek history, meat was not a common part of the everyday diet. Most people ate it only during religious sacrifices or special occasions. Yet, some ancient testimonies suggest that by the 6th century BC, trainers began advocating meat as a vital food for athletes. A famous example came from a trainer named Pythagoras of Samos, not to be confused with the philosopher of the same name, who reportedly recommended that his athletes eat large amounts of meat to build strength. This was unusual in Greek society, and may have distinguished athletes as a unique class of eaters, consuming foods considered powerful but uncommon. Sparta, renowned for its military discipline, offered one of the most distinctive diets in Greece, and this diet influenced their athletes too. Spartans became known for a dish called black broth, a mixture of pork, blood, vinegar, and seasonings. While it may sound unappealing today, it symbolized the toughness of Spartan culture. Although athletes outside Sparta probably did not adopt this exact diet, the Spartan emphasis on plain, hearty, and protein-rich food demonstrated how some Greek city-states deliberately linked diet to physical resilience. Evidence from Spartan traditions shows how cultural values shaped nutritional choices for both soldiers and Olympic athletes. While meat consumption may have grown among athletes, grains continued to form the bulk of Greek meals. Barley was especially prized, often made into porridge or used to bake dense bread. Barley was considered better than wheat by many Greeks because it was thought to provide lasting energy. In addition to barley, legumes such as lentils and beans played an important role, offering valuable protein and fiber. These plant-based foods were accessible, inexpensive, and versatile, which made them reliable sources of strength for training athletes. Historians believe that this mixture of meat and grains marked the emergence of a more balanced athletic diet. No discussion of Greek food is complete without olive oil, which was essential not only as a nutrient, but also as a symbol of Greek culture. Athletes consumed olive oil in modest quantities, but its primary use was external. Before training or competing, they rubbed their bodies with oil to protect the skin and highlight their muscular form. Victors at the Olympics were awarded crowns made from olive leaves, and in some contests, jars of olive oil were given as prizes. Although not a primary food source, olive oil represented the deep connection between Greek agriculture, health, and athletic ritual. Athletes also paid attention to what they drank. Water was the most essential, as it was for all people, but the Greeks commonly mixed water with wine in their daily lives. Drinking undiluted wine was frowned upon except in rare cases, yet for athletes, diluted wine may have been acceptable in small measures to provide energy and relaxation. Some sources indicate that trainers carefully monitored fluid intake, believing that balance was essential. Too much wine was seen as harmful, but complete abstinence was not always required. This reveals that even hydration strategies were part of a structured regime. Greek thinkers debated diet as intensely as athletes practiced it. The physician Hippocrates wrote extensively about how food, exercise, and health were linked. He recommended moderation and balance, echoing the Greek cultural ideal of harmony. Another famous figure, the philosopher Plato, commented on the dangers of overeating or consuming food that dulled the mind. Later authors documented specific regimens for different sports, showing that diet was tailored to the demands of wrestling versus running, rather than being a single universal plan. These writings provide modern scholars a glimpse into how seriously the Greeks considered the role of nutrition in athletic performance. Today, historians reconstruct the diet of Greek athletes from fragmentary sources, ancient texts, archaeological remains, and comparisons with broader Greek eating habits. However, because records are incomplete and often contradictory, there is still debate. Some believe athletes ate mostly meat, while others think they continued to rely heavily on grains and plants. Ancient writers may have exaggerated or simplified details, either to glorify certain athletes or to promote the theories of particular trainers. What we do know is that food was never a casual matter. It was part of the mythology of athletic success, as central to victory as the training ground itself. The question of what Greek athletes ate before the Olympics reveals far more than a list of ingredients or meals. It speaks to the values of ancient Greece: balance, strength, discipline, and the pursuit of excellence. Whether their diets revolved around figs and cheese, or shifted toward meat and barley bread, athletes believed that food prepared their bodies as surely as hours of training did. To the Greeks, nourishing the body was a sacred part of honoring the gods and striving for glory. The legacy of these athletes reminds us that long before modern sports science, humans sought to unlock the secret connection between diet and performance, and the search for that perfect balance continues today.